to. As far as the prone work goes, now we have opportunity to address the back of the body, and as far as energetic properties go, basically this is almost all exclusively bladder meridian. Okay, because of the bladder coming over from the front of the head and splitting into two and running on either side of the spine and through the sacrum and through the gluteals and the hamstrings and the gastrocs and out the foot. So the primary prone is almost all bladder meridian, with some gallbladder that we'll demonstrate as we get more into the lower body. So some of the things that are just useful to us as massage therapists is the ability to add a certain sense of compression into the body before we do work. Well, it is the work, basically. The compression is the work. So I like you to think about that when you're doing massage. How much you choose to do compression. Because compressions is amazing stroke. It's a basic Swedish stroke, but all of it is founded on these basic strokes. And compression does so much. It informs you of the person's condition, their tissue, their breath, the consistency of the relationship between the bone and the muscle. So much. And also on a practical level here, because we're going to be dealing with points and meridians, it creates space in and around the spine. Okay. It loosens, in Chinese medicine, there's a protective energy just at the surface of the body, and it's called the Wei Qi. And the Wei Qi is informed by your lungs. But they say that you have to relax the Wei Qi before you can get into the deeper layers, both physical and energetic bodies. So compression fits that bill. So in prone position, a couple of things. We're going to have the body positioned so that it can take your compression. And we're going to start by coming up to the body and being in between the shoulders and the hip with our knee placement. And we're going to feel for where the spine is, and we're going to be reaching across the spine. And we're going to start just at the top of the shoulder, and we're going to start doing a series of compressions down, following the yang descent of the bladder meridian, through the back musculature into the sacrum and the gluteals. Okay. So this hand that is the most still, or yin, and closest to the head is called the mother hand. And the mother hand stays stationary throughout this series of compressions. And this is the more yang hand, and it starts just below the yin mother hand. And I'm reaching across the spine, and I'm going to have Veronica inhale. And on the exhale, I'm going to lean forward, and I come up on my knees and just let my weight compress down and away from the spine. As I rock back, I inhale and move my hand down, and on the exhale, I compress down and away from the spine. And you continue that rocking motion and let your body weight sink into the person. You want to have a sense of gliding back into an inhale and leaning forward with an exhale. Also, too, you must instill in yourself and the person that you're not pushing, but rather just leaning in. That you can take that compression down and include the sacrum. And then you want to pick this hand back up and repeat. So the heels of your hands are just immediately lateral of the spine. You don't want to veer too far laterally, because you're not dealing with the bladder meridian so much, and also you're endangering the ribs, especially as they come into that angle and they're starting to turn. Good. And I'd like you to become aware of pivoting up on your knees so that you utilize all your body weight. People stay like this and they just, here they have more of a tendency to push. So they're using this, and in doing that they tense this up, where if you're rocking up here and just leaning, you'll feel when you work it's looser here, it's more fluid. Okay. And this evening, after that initial compression, what we're going to do is we're going to take our thumbs, thumb over thumb, and place them just between the spine and the medial border of longissimus, this little lamina groove, I believe, even though that's the space in the spine, and just press away from the spine, helping create a nice space between the spine and the medial border of longissimus, the most pronounced of the erectors. And if you come into an area that feels a little bit more tense than the others, and just, you know, show a little compassion and linger a little bit more. And use your breath as you lean in. Try to stay focused. You know, that's one of the disciplines that Shiatsu shows us. You have to try to stay focused. You know, allow your breath to keep you focused. If your mind starts to wander, you're not really doing Shiatsu. It's just some sort of self-service to yourself. You want to start to stay focused on the person. When you come down onto the sacrum itself, you'll go right into those foveas, those openings, those foramen. And that's where the nerves come through that serve the lower trunk. Okay. So we've compressed and we've created a little space. And then I want you to step across and come over here now. And what's the time on that, please, Kayla?
7:12.
I'm sorry?
7:15 now.
Okay, tell me right before it's 10 minutes.
Okay.
So we're going to start by loosening up this upper tissue of trapezius by fingertip over fingertip and just loosening. What we're doing is we're working the area that all the musculature that attaches to the scapula, because we're going to do some mobilization here. Pressing onto the scapula, addressing infraspinatus, supraspinatus above the spine, even some of the posterior deltoid. And then we're going to slip our hand underneath and cup the front of the shoulder at the head of the humerus. And if you think about keeping your fingers like a shelf, not curled but as a shelf so it doesn't encumber the tissue. And what we're going to do is we're going to mobilize by keeping the arm straight and just leaning back. You get a nice mobilization of the scapula. Utilizing your breath. This knee stabilizes the body. This arm moves. And then after you do that, you're going to take the side of your finger or your fingertips and place it right up against the vertebral border of the scapula, just immediately distal or below the superior angle. And take an inhale, please. And on the exhale, just hold the fingers there and mobilize the scapula around it. Inhale, let the shoulder come down, move the fingers, exhale back. And you work your way down to the distal angle of the scapula. Same mobilization. You can try using your thumb. Leaning forward and inhaling, and on the exhale, back. And when you get down to the distal angle, you change hands.
9 minutes and 30 seconds.
And then in part 2, we'll show you how to continue with the technique. Okay.